Hi, my name is Brayden Harrington, and I'm 13 years old. And without Joe Biden, I wouldn't be talking to you today. I'm just a regular kid, and in a short amount of time, Joe Biden made me more confident about something that's bothered me my whole life. Joe Biden cared. Imagine what he could do for all of us. Kids like me are counting on you to elect someone we can all look up to. Someone who cares.
Civil rights icon and former Congressman John Lewis once told The Atlantic that the democratic process only works if everyone's voice is heard. But unfortunately, according to a Ma and You study in 2001, for so many marginalized groups, the hope of democratic participation remains unattainable. One of these such groups is those suffering from communication disorders. And I felt this firsthand as I was born with a speech impediment. Which is why, in late August, when I watched Brayden Harrington deliver his groundbreaking address to the Democratic National Convention, I was inspired. Today, we're going to talk about the groundbreaking impact of Brayden Harrington's speech. First, by discussing its power. Second, by discussing how that power was amplified by its public audience. And third, and finally, by discussing its purposive nature. But first, we must discuss why Brayden Harrington's address was so groundbreaking. It was powerful because it forced society to reevaluate its own preconceived notions about those living with communication disorders. Take it from former CBS anchor Dan Rather, who wrote on Twitter during the speech, quote, "Brayden Harrington's courage is unvarnished and pure." Samuel Goldstein, a columnist for the LA Times, went a step farther, writing that Harrington's courage inspired him, a child who had grown up with a stutter himself, that perhaps society would view those with communication disorders in a different light. That is where the power of Brayden Harrington's address comes from forcing all of society to reevaluate its own preconceived notions. But no speech is truly that powerful if it exists in a vacuum. Which brings us to our second point, namely the public nature of Brayden Harrington's address. According to LA Times ratings the next morning, the final night of the Democratic National Convention was watched by an average of 24.6 million people, including Fox News. The network wasn't a fan of much of the programming of the week, yet their columnist did write that Brayden Harrington's address was amazing. This is where the power of Brayden Harrington's address is derived from, because it was indeed so public. Which brings us back to our third and final point today, namely the purposive nature of Brayden Harrington's address. According to the USA Today, Brayden Harrington's speech turned a corner for those living with communication disorders. Brayden Harrington was only on the Democratic National Convention because he wanted to support Joe Biden, a candidate who has publicly overcome a speech disorder. Brayden Harrington was encouraging all of America to view others with communication disorders in the same light that they view Joe Biden, as someone whose communication disorder strengthens their public policy, not detracting from it, as a way encouraging America to involve more people with communication disorders in its public process. So what made Brayden Harrington's address so incredibly powerful? Namely, its ability to redefine perspectives, its public nature, and finally, its deeply societal purpose. This is why I believe that Congressman John Lewis, although he is no longer with us, would have been deeply inspired and proud of what Brayden Harrington did on that fateful night in the Democratic National Convention. Redefining perspectives, but most of all, encouraging America that everyone's voice should be heard, communication disorder or not. Thank you.